This is the Speak For Yourself podcast featuring the best of Colin Cowherd and Jason Whitlock. I'm your host, Jason McIntyre. It's Friday, folks. Get ready. NCAA tournaments at stake. Final Four Saturday. I'm fired up. I'll save my picks for the end. Is LeBron taking on too much? Whitlock says LeBron needs to learn a lesson from the real king, Mr. Michael Jeffrey Jordan. Fox Sports NBA expert Chris Broussard stops by to say, relax, the Cavs can hit the switch, and there's no back-to-back games in the playoffs. They'll be fine. Cowherd brings the heat as we compare the careers of Roy Williams and Coach K. Plus, we talk a little golf and lefty Phil Mickelson. If you like gambling, you're going to want to stick around for that one. And finally, Hall of Famer Chris Carter shares a story about his free agency back in the day to explain why Kirk Cousins might be making a mistake sticking with the Redskins. Ready for Speak For Yourself? Cowherd and Whitlock, take it away.
Welcome to the show. Colin thinks Jerry Jones told a big lie about Tony Romo.
And Jason thinks the Cavs will be in serious trouble come playoff time. Speak For Yourself starts now. I'm going to have to teach you a few things today, I guess, there.
You're worried. You weren't worried, but you're worried now about LeBron. All right, hello and welcome. We're joined today by Hall of Famer Chris Carter and Fox NBA analyst Chris Broussard. Let's start with the Cavaliers, who lost to the Bulls last night in Chicago. Cleveland has now lost 3 straight and held an impromptu team meeting to address the skid after the game. Even still, Kyrie Irving thinks the Cavs will figure it out.
It's no time to hold your head, I'll tell you that. It's no time to kind of back up into the wall and panic, because I'm not panicking, and I don't think anybody in this locker room should panic. But we're going to be just fine. It's ugly right now. It's real ugly. But we'll get out of this. We'll be fine.
Colin, Kyrie says they're going to be fine. Do you trust the Cavs to flip the switch come playoff time?
Yes. I'm amazed by this. Okay, let's consider them a little bit of a dynasty, okay? I know they lost one, they won.
Cavaliers are dynasty.
Yeah, Cavaliers. They're on their way to a dynasty. Let's go to the last great baseball dynasty. It was the Yankees, 98, 99, 2000, Joe Torre. And they
Cavaliers are a dynasty.
Yeah.
That's the biggest stretch of the word dynasty on air.
That Yankee team, watch what happened to them after they had their greatest year ever. Every year they went back 10, 12 wins. Was it because they weren't as good? In fact, in that last year, they were awful in September, right before the playoffs, getting their staff ready. When you're great, okay, maybe dynasty's too strong. When you are great, you pick your spots on the interstate to go to the rest area. This is what great teams do. Cleveland is the dominant NBA franchise, LeBron the dominant player. They are picking this spot. They don't care 1, 2 to 3 seeds.
Cleveland, Colin.
This is a
Let me give you another dynasty to compare this to if you're going to go baseball. The Cubs. Cubs dynasty. You remember it?
LeBron's made 6 straight.
They just won their first title ever. And we've seen LeBron James.
LeBron is a dynasty.
Yes. LeBron's a
They're going to make their 3rd straight Cleveland final. What are we worried about?
What? The conversation we're having, there are those of us that think that 3rd straight appearance in the finals is in jeopardy.
Think Goran Dragic is playing in the finals? You think he's lifting a trophy?
I don't think he's playing in the finals.
You think Al Horford's lifting a trophy?
I've seen LeBron James and the Cavaliers do this before. I've seen LeBron James quit in the Boston series.
Oh, boy.
I've seen... They have problems. And look, they're the number 2 seed, and guess who's the number 7 seed? The Miami Heat that, went to 4 straight deals. Pat Riley and Eric Spoelstra figured things out. Since February 1, the best team in the East is the Miami Heat.
They're going to beat
So are you
LeBron
saying
4
on
times.
national TV, yeah, Miami's
I'm
4
not
times.
saying. I'm saying it's going to be tougher
This
than
is
y'all
Hot
think.
Take Friday. You're on a hot take. They got a dynasty and the Miami Heat. Like, let's stop it, because the conversation is really, can they flip the switch? All right? They might be able to win the East, but that still doesn't mean that they flipped the switch, that they can get back into the stratosphere that they were at the last 2 years before the injuries hit them 2 finals ago, and last year what they did in the finals. But you have to take into account this is the worst month LeBron has had since his rookie year, with 10 losses in the month of March. Like, that is serious. That is not a switch. And if you watch the games compared to read the stat sheet and watch the highlights, you can see they're trying. They're trying their best. and it's ugly looking. Kyrie mentioned
You're
it.
saying no. They can't.
It's going to be hard. You can't forget what they're doing now. They're playing bad basketball.
But your argument is to the. I mean, they went out and sought scores. They got them, and they've got an older roster of shooters. Now, to his point, they're not as good defensively as they were last year, the year before.
No.
But I think the question is, can they flip it, get to the finals, and have a competitive final with goal? I'm not guaranteeing
the Bulls
a
flipped
win.
the switch last night. I watched the game. They flipped it in the second half and whooped that ass.
This may look like 2008, where, remember, Boston went 7 games in the first round.
Yeah.
7 games in the second round, a tough 6 in the conference finals, and then won it all in 6. I'm not predicting Cleveland will win it. I'm saying they could have some really tough series in the East this year.
Because they're
where they
flawed.
look bad.
Their
exactly.
personnel is flawed defensively.
And look, this is why I do think they can flip the switch and at least win the East, because they've got such a margin of error in this conference. They've got by far the most talent.
Lost 3 straight.
They got by far the most talent. Their big 3 is by far better than what anybody else in the Eastern
Kyrie's
Conference
the
has.
best player on any other team in the East.
They've lost 3 straight.
He's in the discussion for sure. And remember, they're 5-10 on back-to-backs. This is an old team outside of Kyrie, and Kevin Love's always banged up. No more back-to-backs in the playoffs. You know, you've got time to prepare for one team, hone in, zero in on one team, and you've got by far the best player in the conference. So I still feel very confident. They
I hope Miami makes it. I hope it's Miami.
They'll take them 5.
You know what?
That's a 7-game series.
Here's what doesn't win in the playoffs. Hope. Talent wins.
That's right. You just want
shut the door on that.
Want drama.
Kyrie wasn't the only one expressing concern after the Cavs loss, with LeBron admitting that perhaps the problems in Cleveland are a little more serious than he's been letting on.
She's in a bad spot right now. Not disappointed with the effort. Just in a bad spot. We gotta try to figure it out. Just don't think the concentration to close the 48 minutes is there yet, which is unfortunate.
Counting the hours until work is over?
No. I'm never one to shortcut the process. It's all part of the process. That's what I live by. That's how I've built my career. So, you know, tomorrow's another day. It's another opportunity, but we got some work to do. And we don't have a lot of time.
Yeah, that C on the hat stands for champion. LeBron's carrying his team on the court, making trades. Ty Lue's a non-entity as a coach. Has LeBron taken on too much?
Yes, he has. And LeBron James went full Shaquille O'Neal.
Yeah, we rarely hear him like that. That's true.
Full Shaquille O'Neal. Look, man, LeBron is like a teenager. In all that hope, and man, I can have it all. I'm gonna have the perfect wife, the perfect husband, picket fence. I'm gonna work a job. We're gonna have perfect kids, and blah, blah, blah. And then you get into adulthood, you reach my age, you can't have it all. You can't do it all, particularly not at 32, 33 years old. There was a method to Michael Jordan's madness. He concentrated on basketball and being the best basketball player the world has ever seen. We didn't like it. We wanted him to be a social justice warrior. We wanted him to do this and we wanted him to do that. Mike wanted to play basketball, do a little gambling, chase a little tail, and that was it. I ain't mad at him. LeBron James should learn a lesson from the real king, the real chosen one, Michael Jordan.
Okay, first of all, I got 6 kids and 3 shows. I'm old. I'm fine. Okay, like this idea.
You got the experience. You can have that. He's got it all.
LeBron's really smart. By the way, what's LeBron do every year in the playoffs?
What?
He shuts the social media off. He gets it. He's doing it now because it doesn't hurt his brand. He's selling some tickets. That playoff comes, no more Twitter. He zones in. This guy has got it buttoned up.
To answer the question, yeah, he is doing too much.
Thank you.
You know, now, I don't think it's going. He's always done too much, though. And so this is who he is. Number one, in 2 ways he's doing it. One, on the court. LeBron's greatest strength, and with everybody, your greatest strength's often your greatest weakness. His greatest strength, he's one of the most versatile players we've ever seen. He can play point guard at 6'8", but sometimes that causes confusion on the court because Kyrie doesn't know, am I bringing it up this time or are you? You know, Kyrie wants to be a point guard, but he can't because LeBron's the point guard half the time. And Darren Williams looks confused because he's used to handling the ball, but so that's on the court. Off the court, it's tough playing with your boss. It can be tough on the other players. when you know he's the boss. And that can be a problem. Now, it's been that way since LeBron's been in Cleveland. Okay, so it's nothing new, and they can overcome it, and they did last year as they won the championship.
Once.
But that can be tough, and T. Lue, people kind of, there's a feeling that he is kind of LeBron's puppet.
Right.
And that can make it tough to coach.
There's two real problems here, and one is from a strategy standpoint, you don't see them changing. You see them constantly do the same thing. LeBron's bringing the ball up the court. What they need to do is do what LeBron did in Miami when they put LeBron in the post, because they have Darren Williams now.
Yes.
And they have Kyrie. Kyrie's at an elite level. LeBron doesn't need to bring the ball up. Now, the first 3 months of the season, that was great. But now we're getting to the playoffs, and now you're trying to form the characteristics of the team. That's what they need to do. And also, collectively, individually, they're not good defensive players. So that's not LeBron's fault. All right? They need to take it upon themselves, each guy, to be a better one-on-one ball defender and also help defensively.
Chris, I want to ask you, as a great athlete, great player, my knock on LeBron, again, mostly I approve of LeBron, 70% approval
Down to
rating.
60-something.
70% approval rating. But listen, as a great player, I don't think LeBron doesn't want to be coached. He wants to be the coach. He doesn't want to be coached, and I think that's his Achilles heel.
Personally, what I know about LeBron and knowing the players that have played with LeBron, people look at LeBron like a basketball savant. They said LeBron is one of the brightest minds they've ever seen, remembering sets, remembering tendencies, calling out the opposition's offense and defense. It said it's amazing for him to be on the court. So I don't think he doesn't want to be coached. I think when you have a player like that who is beyond the X's and O's, they're harder to coach, because not only do they have the mind of a coach, they have the ability of one of the greatest of all time. So that's the dilemma in LeBron James.
You better be sharp if you're going to coach LeBron James.
By the way, Magic Johnson, Michael Jordan ran coaches out.
Yep.
They weren't easy to coach either.
Okay, well, look, they figured out Phil Jackson. They figured out Pat Riley. Damn it, I love Ty Lue.
He's not in that class.
I agree.
Yeah.
Again, if
But
LeBron...
not making shots is not LeBron's fault. They're getting plenty of shots. They're not making shots.
He needs to look for better coaching then, because Eric Spoelstra and Pat Riley, they coached him and ran that organization. They produced championships.
Here's the thing about LeBron James, and it's unfortunate. It might be a regret that we all have when we look back at his career. He's never had one of those iconic coaches. Spoelstra's looking great this year, but Spoelstra, I don't think Spoelstra's been a great coach throughout his career. He's been a good coach.
He's starting to look like one now, and I'll give him credit.
To get him to the playoffs. All right, let's see him take a team further. All right, but Pat Riley, Phil Jackson, Greg Popovich, LeBron hasn't benefited from one of those coaches like these other great iconic players have.
LeBron's going to go 0 dark 30. He's going to get off social media. He's going to be focused. And I
hope we're taping this. I know we're taping this.
Yeah,
we're
it's
going
called
to
archive.
words.
And we'll come out, and you guys will literally, you'll go back to wearing a hat. You'll go back to saying I'm right.
Elevate my game.
When it's Game 7, Miami versus Cleveland.
Oh, it's not getting to a Game 7.
Hey guys, it's Jason McIntyre here. Before we move into the next topic, I want to bring in Colin to tell you about a great deal from T-Mobile.
Thanks, Jason. Opening day for Major League Baseball just around the corner. And T-Mobile, this is cool, is giving away a free year of Major League Baseball TV Premium. Cool. So you can catch every game no matter where you are. That's over $100 value, and it's free. Going to be an exciting season. The Cubs are trying to be the first repeat champ since the Yankees won 3 straight in 98 through 2000. Can the Indians snap the longest World Series drought? No titles since the mid-50s. Can Bryce Harper regain his MVP form from 2 years ago? Can the Dodgers finally win a big playoff series? Here's what you need to do. Make T-Mobile your phone provider, then download the T-Mobile Tuesdays app, and on April 4th, you're going to get a free year of MLB.TV Premium. How cool is that? Now, some legal disclaimers here. The top 3% of data users may notice reduced speeds. Also, you must activate the HD feature. Otherwise, video typically streams at 480p. Web-enabled mobile devices and qualifying service required. And Major League Baseball trademarks used with permission. Remember, April 4th, get your free year of MLB.TV Premium through the T-Mobile Tuesdays app, or go to T-Mobile.com/MLB.
Thanks, Colin. Again, that's T-Mobile on April 4th. As I live in Los Angeles now, but I know I can catch all my favorite Yankees and Mets games. Blackouts and other restrictions apply. See terms of use for details. Now back to the show.
Welcome back, Chris Carter, Hall of Famer, joined by the founder of the Big Lead, Jason McIntyre. Let's move to college hoops. What a weekend. Roy Williams has North Carolina back in the Final Four, second year in a row. After coming up just short last year, Roy is looking for his third national title, the Big Three. And Carolina's in-state rival, Duke, we got some comparisons now between Roy and Coach K. It's inevitable. While the Duke coach is considered the most successful coach of this era, if you compare the two since Roy came to Carolina, they're tied with 2 national titles, and Roy actually has more Final Fours and ACC titles. All right, Whitlock, would Roy getting his third title put him in the same class as Coach K?
He's already in the same class. I've believed that since his days at Kansas. I got a bias here. Love Roy Williams. When he was at Kansas the first time, when he stayed instead of leaving, I shed tears. Love this dude. I love the way he's done it. They don't have, this isn't a one-and-done program.
No.
They've had Marvin Williams and Brandon Wright go one-and-done. Haven't had a one-and-done since 2007.
Yeah.
He's built a program that's been dominant in the ACC. When he's gone head-to-head with Coach K, he's been very successful. A third title certainly puts him on the same level, I think, publicly with Coach K. Roy Williams is a tremendous coach, as good as anybody in college basketball.
Now, let me put it in context. I think Carolina and Duke are both great, like as far as hoops.
Mm-hmm.
But if you're talking about on the same class, the coach, there's 2 things that Coach K has that Roy doesn't. Success with NBA Olympians. There's an elevation, a gravitas that you can't dispute.
You and I could coach that.
Well, say what you want. He got chosen as the guy, and John Thompson once coached that team. He was a good coach. He didn't do well.
No, he coached college kids.
But the Olympic gold means something, and it elevates him. And secondly, nobody likes to say this, but there's a certain social and academics, a strident level that Duke faces that others don't. It's private. It's small. Forget just academics.
It's smug.
It can be smug. It is socially not for everybody.
Carolina's
more like Kentucky or Kansas. A lot of kids could play. Duke's, it can be tough to recruit kids to Duke. It's private. It's elite.
Oh, it is?
It's standoffish.
With Dick Vitale helping you recruit on TV every night, it's really tough.
All I'm saying is, Coach K is, to me, is a Mount, it's overused. He's a Mount Rushmore guy.
And Roy Williams with a third title would be right there with him, just people haven't gone there yet.
I got to disagree with you. And the reason why, if we were starting from the time he got to North Carolina, head-to-head, him versus Duke, yes, you'd be able to say that. But you can't forget the 15 years he had at Kansas, where he had the same type of talent that he has at North Carolina or the same type of talent that Coach K had at Duke. And what did he do with that talent? They underperformed there. Now, if he had won there, this is the thing.
Yeah.
Sometimes the numbers do tell part of the story. In 15 years, he didn't win. Now he's been there. Even if he wins his third, he's still not to the level of Coach K. I mean, this is like LeBron with Michael Jordan. Like, when is 3 more than 6? Like, when is 4? like, why do we do this? And we're just going to forget the 15 years he was there with superior talent, and he didn't win.
I had a good joke for when 3's more than 6, but I'll tell it off air.
Let me just add to Chris. Coach, maybe it's because of my background as a blogger, starting something from scratch. Coach K is Duke. He is synonymous with the Duke basketball program. You think he started things there. He got there in 1980. Boom, they take off. They eclipse UCLA as the #1 program in the country.
Yeah.
Coach K built that from scratch.
He bought the first ref there.
Oh, you love bagging on Duke. But,
That's a great point.
Roy Williams jumps into Carolina, and not to knock it, but listen, Dean Smith put them up here.
It's almost like jumping into Oklahoma football.
Yeah, Bill Guthridge went to 2 Final Fours in 3 years.
You got Michael Jordan's legacy.
Yeah,
that's
not difficult to recruit.
That's a very good point.
It's a very legitimate. Now, there is something. Now, you can look at it 2 ways. I've always thought Bill Parcells is amazing because he does jump to places and resurrects things. Or you can go Chuck Noll stayed at one place. And they're both equally amazing. But in college basketball, to take Duke, if you just set it on paper, there's this small, elite, academic powerhouse that's basically an Ivy League, and they'll become the best college anything outside of lacrosse, maybe.
They got a lot of brothers who be Ivy League, but go ahead with your argument. I'm just saying, the only thing brown in Ivy League is brown.
Come on now.
Hey, Tommy Hammer is killing it.
It just, to me, to win at Duke with their, it's really an amazing story. I think Duke's the best college brand, basketball or football in the country.
And to elaborate on his Mount Rushmore, would you put Roy Williams on the Mount Rushmore of college basketball?
Y'all have won the argument. Y'all have won the argument. Damn it, if he gets the third title, though, he's right there nipping at his heels.
He's your friend.
I love the guy.
Hanging with him in Vegas, right?
All right, yeah, we have shot craps together. I love Roy. All right, welcome back. Chris Carter's back, and we're joined now by Super Bowl champ Eric Davis. Let's move to the NFL, where Monday Morning Quarterbacks Albert Breer reports that the Redskins have offered Kirk Cousins the long-term extension he's been demanding. Redskins general manager Bruce Allen confirmed the team offered Cousins a 5-year extension, but Breer reports that the sides are still far from getting a deal done. Colin, would it be a mistake if the Redskins caved to Cousins' demand?
Well, I think it's always a mistake if you cave. If you use the word cave. He's a marginal franchise quarterback. I really believe this, that, and some teams get it and some teams don't. Everybody wants a franchise quarterback, but there's only a handful on the face of the earth. There's a lot of great receivers, corners. There are about 5 guys that are great at quarterback. So the chances of getting one are rare. What you do when you get a Kirk Cousins, Alex Smith, Andy Dalton, they stabilize. What you can't be in this league is horrific at quarterback, unstable, emotionally conflicted. So when you get Dalton or Cousins, they stabilize, and you know what you do? You draft a quarterback every year. And about every 4th, 5th year, you're going to get a guy. If you can get a Dak or a Russell, you don't stop drafting quarterbacks, but what gets you fired and you have to pull your daughters out of school is you're terrible at quarterback. With Kirk, Dalton, you'll be playoff viable in most years.
Yeah, you'll settle. You'll settle. You'll buy the big wedding ring that costs $1 million, but you're not getting really what you want.
Not everybody can be Dalton or Brady.
I understand. Whatever the perfect, 5-carat diamond ring costs, they're gonna settle.
You're shooting for the stars or nothing else.
Well, I'm shooting for the Super Bowl, and I'm shooting for a guy who, if at the end of the regular season is facing a team with no reason to play,
you got to get off that one game.
Can produce some points at the end of the game. He didn't do it. I don't believe in settling. That's why I'm waiting on Tamron Hall.
It would be a mistake. We'll talk about that later, but it would be a mistake not for Washington. It would be a mistake for Kirk Cousins. There is no way Kirk Cousins, looking at what's happening right now with the organization, there's no reason you should believe now that say what you want to say about Scott McCloughan. There's a lot of talk about him, drinking problems and all of these things, but the guy knows how to put football players in a building. He did it in Seattle. Yep. He did it with the 49ers. Yep. He was on his way starting to do it here. Now he's gone. You have the same people back in charge of Washington that have allowed the team to be mediocre for a long, long time. If I'm Kirk Cousins, why would I sign on? You just got rid of my offensive coordinator. You got rid of both of my receivers. You expect me to come in and do what I'm supposed to do and lead this offense and lead us to the playoffs when you're getting rid of the pieces. You're not showing me you know what to do. I think it's a mistake for him.
I remember one time the Vikings, I was in the contract negotiation. They said, Chris, we think you're one of the top 3 receivers in the league. I said, okay, who are they? He said, Jerry Rice. I said, all right, let's call him up. We called him on the phone. His number was busy. I said, hey, he's also got a contract. San Francisco would never let him go. I said, who's the other one? He said, Mike Irvin. I called him up. Mike Irvin, it came to his voicemail. You know what it said? Mr. Playmaker, I'm not available. So, I told the general manager, I'm the best thing. I'm the #1 receiver. So, even though my name might be Kirk Cousins, you might as well look at me like I'm Tamron Hall because I'm your best option. And that's why they need to sign him, because the franchise will go backwards if they don't sign him. Yeah, that is a guarantee.
He's no longer that 4th-round pick. I saw that when we were leading into this, you were talking, he's not a 4th-round pick. He's your starting quarterback.
Right.
You're right, Chris.
And you don't have to always be on the Today Show to be famous or to be viable.
Y'all have both made good points. But I like Eric's point a little bit of...
That Kirk Cousins maybe is making a mistake.
Yeah, and the fact that maybe the long-term contract and why they have caved, is he in a better position to be traded to San Francisco if he's under contract? Does that give them more vibe?
Yes, he is.
Yeah, because at least you know what the number is before, you just work out the compensation because you know the number on his head.
Exactly.
And do we all agree, if we're grading here, the Rodgers, Breeze, all the A's,
Yes.
we all agree that Kirk's probably in that B to B minus-ish?
Yes.
Okay, so
he's that second tier. He's one of he's an above average quarterback in this league, and that's what most of them are, the winning quarterbacks.
That's right.
You can win games if you put the other pieces around him. And that's why he's a valuable commodity to Washington.
See, I don't think you're settling. I think what you're saying is, let's be steady and playoff viable. You don't tell Kirk or advertise it.
Right.
He's not our gold standard. But I'd like to maintain some stability. Here's what Washington hasn't been for 15 years. Stable. Here's what Cincinnati wasn't before Marvin Lewis and Andy. Stable. Stability matters in this
Washington's
league.
not stable right now. Look at what's happening in their front office. I mean,
Without Cousins, they're a mess.
The position, though.
Well, he stabilized that position, and you look at how things were built. That's why I say Scott McCloughan was so important to them. You look at what happened, and you talk about an average, above-average quarterback starting off. That's Alex Smith and that Niners team with what was around him. They were able to get to a Super Bowl. Seattle, same thing.
Yes, one thing I don't think coaches and teams, organizations really think about is, okay, if I pay him this money, maybe that might be too much money. How much money is going to cost you to replace him? That's what you need to think about. How many mistakes are you going to make before you finally get a quarterback that's viable? You'll be up in the $100, $200 million range.
Last 10 years, the college game has given you about 1.5 quarterbacks a year. This is considered a down year. I mean, that's all college has given you. How many quarterbacks can the Jets draft? You may not like Kirk Cousins, but when you look at what college has given you, Canada's not giving you any. It's pretty good.
All right, welcome back. Let's move to Phil Mickelson. During the course of the trial of businessman and gambler William Billy Walters, federal prosecutors alleged that Mickelson at one point owed Walters nearly $2 million in sports gambling debts. Colin, Phil is still a huge fan favorite on the PGA Tour. Should his high-stakes gambling hurt his reputation?
Yeah, because nobody bets in this country.
$2 million?
When your net worth is $300 million, $2 million isn't a gambling debt. It's a rounding error. You
must be speaking from experience.
No,
See,
I'm just saying, if I had $10,000 in the bank, the equivalent of Phil's net worth in that debt would me be losing $66 if I had a $10,000 bank account. It's just, again, rich guys all have a thing. It's yachts, it's cars, it's clothing, it's winery.
It's gambling.
It's exotic pets. His is, I like betting football games. The average guy in America bets. I don't think it falls. I don't think he'll get booed on the tour.
Neither do I. I don't listen. Obviously, it enhances his reputation with me. I hope Phil meets me out in Las Vegas this weekend. But I do think there is something to competitive men and athletes. The great Jordan loved to gamble. Phil likes to gamble.
You don't think less of them?
No, I don't think less of them. I think that it's hard to turn off that competitive gene if you got it.
Wow.
Well, I'm not surprised at all. I mean, there are a lot of professional athletes and high net worth people who like to gamble. They like the juice. They like the action. As far as his reputation, you have to ask me what I think his reputation was before this broke. I thought he was a gambler. It's been
confirmed.
Yes, like he gambles not only on basketball, football, but he likes to gamble. That's what I thought about.
This enhances his reputation with guys, right? He gambles heavily. He drinks a little bit. He's got the tummy. He's not in great shape. And guess what? He's married to an NBA cheerleader, okay? These are three cool things that guys like in other guys.
I could argue.
I don't know about married to an NBA cheerleader, but
yeah, that's not a good
But I mean, Michael Jordan, Charles Barkley are two of the most popular basketball players ever. Well-known gambling. I don't think gambling makes you less popular. I think it makes you more relatable. Yeah. Like when Mike Pence said something the other day about I'll never have a drink without my wife, people are like, whoa, it's nice, if you believe that. But that was seen as like rigid and odd and whoa. People all have flaws.
Guys,
people all
so he's over in Europe. He has meetings all day, and he wants to have a drink. He can't have one because his wife is 6,000 miles away.
Well, he can if he brings in like an assistant or something. He's got to bring in a buddy.
You got to have more self-control. Like, stop.
This is what I say about gambling. My new theory on gambling. It's like bacon. It makes everything better. It really does. Feels like everybody. Seriously, having a little money on a game makes it taste better. Having a little bacon on a game makes it taste better.
You're not wrong. I think we kind of like Pete Rose is as likable as a former baseball player in the world. I'm okay with flaws.
I like my money. That's what I like. I like my money, and I like more of it.
So you don't want to have a free throw shooting contest, Chris?
Would you? That ain't gambling. That ain't gambling.
You got your lock on that.
I bet I'm a few hours from going to Vegas.
Good news to report. Podcast subscriptions are up. Thanks for telling all your friends. Remember to tweet us your questions and follow us on Instagram for behind-the-scenes stuff from the show. Real quick, my picks this weekend in the Final Four. I love South Carolina and the points. I know Gonzaga's hot. Everybody loves Gonzaga here. I can't pick against Frank Martin. They're getting 6.5, 7 points. South Carolina's scrappy defensively. They've been dominant in the second half of all 4 games in the tournament. And finally, North Carolina. Listen, I don't love Roy Williams as a coach. I think he really screws things up in big spots. But I like Carolina here. They can go size, they can go small. Shooting in a dome, remember, Final Four in a dome, not always good to shooting teams. And if Dorsey and Brooks aren't on, Oregon's in trouble. So I love North Carolina and maybe a North Carolina-Gonzaga title game. Enjoy the weekend. We'll see you Monday.